Aloha and welcome back to Leaving the Church to Find God, your safe space for exploring faith beyond traditional walls. I'm your host, Melissa, and whether you grew up in the evangelical church like I did, or any other system while seeking answers, you're in the right place. This podcast isn't about judgment or attacking institutions. It's about honest conversations, diverse spiritual paths, and celebrating the unique journeys that we all take in search of meaning. We've all experienced indoctrination in some form, and here we explore how it shapes our understanding of ourselves and the divine. Each week, we'll dive into thought-provoking topics, share inspiring stories from guests and listeners like you, and offer tools and insights for navigating your own deconstruction journey. Remember, leaving the church doesn't mean leaving your faith. It's about finding your own authentic connection to something greater. So buckle up, embrace the open dialogue, and join me as we explore what it means to move beyond confines and discover the deeper personal connection to the divine that exists within us all. Aloha, God Pod. Welcome back. I'm so happy to have you here. Today, I'm going to speak about something that's really, really important to me. Embodiment. So there's something recently I've come to understand because I've done yoga for a long time, and there is this principle of body, mind, and spirit. And I think just me being my human person, a lot of us took this very literally and thought, body, mind, spirit is, I get my body healthy and get my mindset right and get my spirit right where I'm in alignment, and body, mind, spirit, then I'm good. That's the union that we're looking for, right? Because yoga actually means union. It's the union of body, mind, and spirit. So what I've realized is that it goes so much deeper than that the body part is embodiment. The mind part is mindfulness, aka presence. And the spirit part is understanding that there is a broader perspective that is our soul and letting that part of us lead. It's a union, literally, of my body being in this body, my mind being mindful, being able to use this calculator I have in my head to be mindful of the world around and within myself, and then my being led by my soul. That's a union, a balance of the three is really what we're looking for, right? So in embodiment, I just feel like these are all there's so much to talk about with these three parts that I'm going to actually break this into a 3-part series. I don't know if I'll play them back to back or not, but there will be 3 coming and we'll have the other 2, but I'm just really going to stick to this one today as much as I can. So what is embodiment? Embodiment, by definition, is a tangible or visible form of an idea, quality, or feeling. It's the representation or expression of something in a tangible or visible form. So if we think about source energy, what is source energy? Some people call source energy God. Some people call it the universe. I'm going to use source energy today because I feel like it just really maintains the context of what I'm talking about. And by doing that, what I'm referring to is that everything is energy. Everything is made of energy. And there is a source of this energy. Eckhart Tolle described it as gold. I felt like that was such a great metaphor because it really is like that, and I break that metaphor down so much more and more, even though, gosh, the first time I read the Power of Now was almost 20 years ago, but I really love this metaphor of gold. So think about God, right, as gold, or source energy as gold. There's all of the gold in the world. That's God. Or in the universe, galaxy, who knows? I think maybe there's gold on other planets, but we got gold here, right? So I think that's God. And then, I could be a gold ring. I could be pure gold. But I'm not all of gold. So when I talk about us being God in the flesh, or us being an extension of source energy, this is what I'm talking about. I am pure gold, but I'm not all of gold. There's more gold than just what's here in Melissa, right? And if we want to go deeper into that analogy, we could think about breaking it say there's all of gold, and then we break it down into gold bars, right? So we got a gold bar, and then think of that as kind of maybe a soul group. And then that soul group gets broken down into pieces, and then those pieces get melted down and put into other pieces. And that's what soul groups are, right? Like there's this one whole, and then we just kind of go down into groups and groups and groups and groups, but we're all part of this whole, right? So no matter how you break it down, I'm still gold. I'm still God. Does that mean that I'm all of God? No, but I am God. So are you. And Jesus actually said this. There's still a scripture in there now and then about it. And there were also a lot of it that was taken out in the Gospel of Thomas. But we are God in the flesh. So embodiment is the representation of source energy and an expression of self in and through the body. So if we think about that definition of embodiment, that's what it is. We are a representation or an expression of something. That representation or expression is source energy in a tangible form. That's the expression of our physical bodies, right? So why? Why would God want to be a human? Well, I feel like it's because God wants to experience itself. Because we have all these amazing senses. We get to see all these beautiful colors and things and movement. And there's so many things that we can see. We get to smell. We can smell good smells, bad smells, but there are like millions of smells that we can smell. We get to feel. We get to feel all of these emotions, like this huge spectrum of emotions, but we also get to physically feel the sense of touch. We can sense things. We can feel things in the metaphysical. There's all of these senses that we have that are part of us being a body. And God chose that, or source energy chose that in a way that, however you see consciousness is happening. But in the expansion of consciousness, we were created, we evolved, we developed to be what we are in the way that we are as an expression of source energy. In the church, we're taught from day one that we are born into sin, that because we have a body, that we are bad, that everything that our body wants is bad for us, basically. that the body is the source of bad. I saw a meme yesterday. Oh, it was so good. It was talking about how the first sin that a woman ever committed was eating, right? And we can go into the patriarchy and all that like later, but it's true. Like the original sin was like Eve eating an apple, apparently, right? That is such a human experience, to eat, to taste, to use our bodies. So it's been framed to us from the beginning that our bodies are a sin, that our bodies are the problem, that our bodies are something that need to be accounted for, controlled, maintained, apologized for. There's so much bad connotation with the body because of this. Because by being embodied, by allowing ourselves to be a representation of source energy, our power is infinite. Our power is unlimited. And if you want to control people, you disempower them. And one of the quickest ways to do that is to disembody them. And we have been disembodied. I feel it started long ago. Started so long ago. But we have been disembodied by the church to the point where, I don't know if you've caught the episode with Dr. Christina Cleveland, but we were even speaking of this and how she was working with Dr. Tina Sherman Scherer, I believe, and it was expressed that millennial women who grew up in the evangelical church, whether they were sexually abused or not, show all of the signs of sexual assault because our bodily autonomy was so taken from us from the beginning. So, but whether you're in the church or not, especially being a woman, the patriarchy, all of it, like our bodies are just laced with shame. Our bodies are presented to us to be something that is to be controlled, to be manipulated, to be like watched over in this hyper vigilant way. Like we have to keep our body under control. Sexual feelings are bad. Like sexual urges are bad. You know, the urge to eat is bad. The urge to do anything is bad. Even our emotions are used against us. And our emotions are part of our body. there are no bad emotions. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. There are no bad emotions. Are there emotions that are uncomfortable? Painful even? Yes, absolutely. But there are no bad emotions. Now you might say, like, what about greed or violence or intimacy? Those are not emotions. Intimacy even is a good one, but still, those aren't emotions. Those are actions that cause an emotion or that are stemmed from an emotion. But the emotions that we have are indicators. It is a way that our soul, our broader perspective, my portion of gold, speaks to me, my human, through these emotions. It says an example, anger. Especially the church. Gosh, the church loves to harp on anger and how evil anger is. But it's not true. Anger actually activates change. Anger is there to let us know that there is something that feels unjust or wrong that we need to change. Rage. Rage shows us where we're being neglected. When we go into rage, it's because there is some part of us that is being neglected, that is just screaming and crying to be seen and to be fulfilled. Sadness. Sadness is a reminder that we are finite. It's a reminder to look at what's good. It gives us a contrast of feeling. On the other side of sadness is joy, and our sadness shows us our joy. It moves us towards joy. It lets us know this is sad, this isn't joy. Like, where can I move in my life to bring me back to joy? Grief. Grief, it's an expression of love. The depth of grief matches the depth of love that you have for whatever it is that you feel that you've lost. Confusion. Confusion is a call to clarity. Joy is a reminder of the beauty that's available to us. Love invites us to lean in towards where that source of love is coming from. Jealousy, it shows us what we really want. Being jealous of someone isn't bad. It is if you use that to try to take that person down or take that from that person. But when you use that jealousy as a cue to let you know that, wait, I'm jealous of that because I want that for myself. That's a beautiful indicator. Fear. Fear keeps us alive in our bodies. It keeps us from unaliving ourselves, right? All of these emotions have purpose. They're all part of our body. So when we start denying our emotions, then we start to become disembodied. This happens especially through the church, but just as humans in general. Think about us as children. Like when we're toddlers, we are in the feels, right? We are very much in those feelings. And we are in our gut feeling, the gut reactions. It's not a like, my feelings are hurt feeling. It is a gut feeling. I don't like this. This feels bad. This is not what I want. We get these gut reactions to our feelings. And what are we told? What are we told? We're told that they're bad. Don't cry right now. No, you're not supposed to cry about that. Oh, get over it. Move on. It's okay. Suck it up. Suck it up. Move on. You're okay. You're okay. You know, we get told this and told this and told this, and it conditions us to stop listening to that gut. It conditions us to stop listening to those feelings. And then when those feelings come up, we think, oh, that's bad. Let me run from that feeling. Instead of leaning into it and seeing what it's trying to show us, we run from it and we hide it and we stuff it down and we cover it up. So then we continue to grow, and this is our phase of being separated from our feelings, from our gut feelings. And then we get into our adolescence. And then we start coming into our heart. If you think about the vagus nerve, this is how it begins, right? It goes from the gut up through the heart, all the way up. So if we're thinking from the vagus nerve, we've already cut it off at our bellies, right? Now we go into our heart. We're in our adolescence and we feel, oh gosh, we feel everything with our hearts. All of the feelings are so big. They're big heart feelings, you know, so much feelings. You've all been through adolescence. You know what I'm talking about, right? So these heart feelings, and we're told we're too emotional to get over it, to be an adult, to not feel that way. Over and over, we're shamed for our emotions. We are punished. We are tamed, basically, from our hearts. So our gut emotions have been cut off. Now our heart emotions are cut off. And what that does is we keep moving up that vagus nerve and it puts us in our head. And yes, our head is very useful. We kind of need this thing to be alive. But by our head, I mean our minds. And while our minds have purpose, our minds are excellent for problem solving and like very tactical human things. Our minds are not supposed to feel for us. Our gut and our heart is supposed to feel for us. But when we've cut those things off, then we're dependent on our mind. And we spend our lives living from our mind, making decisions from our mind, weighing out pros and cons. Does this make logical sense? The problem with that is that everything that our mind knows is based on past experience. So all these decisions that we're making are being made based on past experience, not based on the infinite available abundance that's in front of us. But no, it's all based on our past experience because that's all our mind has to go on. But we've completely become disembodied and we are living in our mind at this point. The mind is making the choices. So if you could see like how this becomes a problem, right? We start living our life. We choose our partners. We choose our family structure. We choose our jobs. We choose all of these things from our minds. And then we wonder why we're not happy. We wonder why we feel frustrated and stuck, or no matter what we do, something's not right. It just doesn't feel right. This isn't what life is supposed to be like. Life is supposed to be fun. Why is it so hard? It shouldn't be so hard. Why is everything so hard? Well, this is part of the design of the manipulation of how the church and how society has used our bodies against us. If we're stuck in our mind and we're constantly trying to problem solve the cycle that we're recreating, then we're not making change. We're not revolutionizing. We're not evolving in the way that humanity is meant to evolve. We've gotten into this power dynamic, the struggle that we're in. This is the design of the manipulation. Also with media, the media keeps us distracted. The news keeps us filled with fear so that we keep watching. The social media keeps us feeling insecure and like we're not enough. And they use our dopamine against us. Like we get stuck in these cycles where we're distracted. All of this is keeping us disembodied. We have been convinced, no thanks to patriarchy, we've been convinced that our bodies are a problem and that they're supposed to look a very specific way. And if they don't, then we need to change them. We need to fix them. We've got to keep all of these metrics really healthy and work ourselves into the bone until like we're just like in this schedule, this routine of trying to tame and control our bodies. I don't want to skip past this. One of the things going back to the church is that we weren't allowed to dance. I mean, we were allowed to dance if it was in spirit, right? We're shouting, running around the church, woo! But we weren't allowed to dance because that was like enticing men. That was moving our body in a sexual way. It was enticing men, blah, blah, blah. Dancing is one of the quickest ways to get back into your body. I don't think that is an accident. We are taught that sex is shameful and that we need to stay away from sex and all of our sexual feelings are bad and need to be repented for, and that ways that humans present in their bodies, if it's not on this binary, then it's bad or it's wrong, and just so many things that take us away from our body, that disembody us and that just keep us in our minds constantly in this struggle, in this cycle of trying to keep up, of trying to get it right. When we're living in our thinking minds, we're interpreting these emotions through a lens of comparison. So it's more of a signal. But when we're living embodied, we recognize these feelings as cues. They are always meant to bring us back to ourselves, to our own knowing. As we tune in, we become more attuned to these feelings. It's like you sharpen that knife, you sharpen that tool. The more you use it, the sharper it gets, right? And working with these feelings empowers us to live authentically because it lets us know what our broader perspective wants. So going back to broader perspective, we're talking about the gold, right? My broader perspective is my portion of gold in this life, like Melissa's portion, I'm a necklace or whatever I am. And that perspective knew when it chose to be me before it came into this life, before it incarnated, that part of me knew what I wanted to experience in this life. So that part of me chose who I would be born to, what body I would have, what experiences I would have, who would be in my life so that I could have those experiences that my soul wanted to have. Some people believe it's for the evolution of soul. Some people believe it's simply for the experience. I don't know. But I do know that I chose this life. There was something that really changed for me about that because I used to be so hard on myself. I've struggled with my weight since I was about 10 years old. I was so hard on myself about my body and so mean to my body. I've, dealt with disordered eating. I was anorexic for many years. I have been through all of that. But I got a lot kinder to my body when I realized that I chose it. When I realized that this is the body that my soul chose to live this life in. It's exactly the body I'm supposed to be in. I chose this body, and it's perfect for me. It's gotten me exactly where I need to be. It's helped me experience exactly what I was meant to experience. This is my body, and I love it, and I'm going to take care of it. Once I had that understanding, it really changed things for me. I started looking at myself differently. I started speaking to myself differently. I just really started to come back into my body. So, going back to the soul part, this broader perspective, my soul chose this body and knew what it wanted to experience in this life. When I experience discomfort, it's not wrong or bad. It's just the distance between where I am as the human and where my soul wants to be. The broader perspective, the bigger part of me. So the soul exists outside of the body. They say like 3 to 5 meters in every direction. I don't know how they measure this, but this is like what people say. But our body is in our soul, not the other way around. We're not just like a meat suit with a body and a soul inside of it. We're a soul carrying around a meat suit. So my broader perspective knows what I really want. It knows the desires of my heart and my soul because it feels what I feel. And when I don't want something, it knows the opposite is what I do want. It starts creating and drawing in what I do want, right? So when I feel discomfort, a feeling that would normally be perceived as bad or uncomfortable, it's really the distance between my soul, what my soul knows I want, and where I am or what direction I'm going in. That's not meant to alarm me. That's meant to give me a cue to be like, oh, I actually want to come back here because this is more alignment with what my soul wants. So people talk a lot in the New Age world about alignment, being in alignment. And that's what it is. It's aligning yourself to what your broader perspective knows that you desire. It's not because some man up in the sky decided our purpose and we're out here little soldiers living out a purpose that somebody else decided for us. That is not it at all. We chose this. The I am Melissa. Who is that I? That I is the one who chose Melissa. So, I know I'm getting deep in here, y'all. This is just beginning. The more we bring ourselves into alignment with that body, the mind, and the soul, the more authentically we are living. By living an embodied experience, we're able to enjoy the experience of being human. Coming back to this experience I had with choosing my own body, it's really helped me change to how I see myself. So now when I look in the mirror, I don't look for flaws. When I look in the mirror, I look for things that I love. And that has completely changed my mindset and everything. And I stopped trying to lose weight. I really just started listening to my body and eating what it was telling me and not feeling bad about it. And just like really just nourishing myself. And when I eat, I'm hungry. And when I'm tired, I rest. And that's just the number one for me. And when I want to move, I move, So I started letting my body lead. I started coming back into my body and letting those cues lead me. And the irony of that is that weight is falling off of me. I don't even know because I don't weigh myself. But the last time I was weighed, I had lost already over 30 pounds just from not doing anything. Just from being myself, from loving myself, from not trying to force myself into compliance. just from acceptance. And so I'm actually working on a book. Y'all, I'm working on Life 5 books right now. They're all going to come out one day, I promise. But I'm actually working on one right now. It's, get fit by being yourself. And that is what's happening. It's by living authentically, living in alignment with my body, mind, and soul, that it's just happening naturally. And now, especially now that some weight's come off, I just can't stop moving. I'm like wanting to go for walks all day long, stretching all the time. Like, I literally have caught myself doing karate punches in the air every day before bed. Like, I just have all this energy and excitement in my body. So, it's working. I can say that. But by living an embodied experience, we're able to enjoy the experience of being human. So I spent much of my life trying to control every part of myself to be what the world around me was telling me I was supposed to be. Now I understand that the whole time, like, she was here for me, nudging me, waiting for me to listen. Loving my body, it's not only made my mind love my physical form, but it has deepened the bond between my soul and my human. It's a harmony that I don't have the words to explain. It's an overwhelming feeling of love, of confidence, of satisfaction, and of fulfillment just by existing. Like, I big myself up so much. It's nuts. Like, seriously. And I'm not trying. I just feel that way. Like, I'll walk by the mirror and my broader perspective just looks at me as like, I love you. You're doing amazing. Keep it up. Like, I'm so proud of you. Oh, I love that about you. And it's genuine. It's not forced. It's genuinely like a union of my body, mind, and spirit. My broader perspective and I are in harmony. And my broader perspective is super stoked about it. And so is my human. So it's all working really well. I've been saying, like, I feel like I'm having a love affair between my human and my soul, because that's what it feels like. It's just this happiness of like, yeah, this is what we're doing, not because I'm perfect or not because I figured it all out or got it all right, but just because I'm embodied, because I'm enjoying this big experience of being me in this body. So, how do we get there? How do we come back into our bodies? Well, there's a lot of ways. One that I found, especially in the moment, is when I'm feeling overcome by emotion or distracted or just overwhelmed in any way, or just like not feeling present, I go into my senses. What do I smell right now? What do I feel right now? What do I hear right now? What do I see right now? So I start going into my senses and getting back into my body. That's one easy, immediate thing you can do at any time. Another thing that has really, really helped me to become embodied is dancing. Dancing is, I always said this, when I see hula, I tear up. I don't care if it's 5-year-olds doing hula, it touches me. Something in my soul recognizes it and feels very happy about it. The way I see hula is like literally, and it's funny because I described it this way before I started doing hula. And then when I started doing hula, I realized that it was actually exactly what it is. And it's just receiving the energy, the huna energy, the energy from the earth and expressing it in physical form. And that's why it's so touching and so beautiful. It's just this true embodiment of earth energy. And it's just delicious. It's delicious. If you haven't seen a good hula, Google Mary Monarch and start watching some videos and you will see what I mean. Chicken skin for days. But that's the thing is about dance. It's like, even with African dance, I mentioned this a lot because it's been such a pivotal process for me, is using African dance. When I listen to African music or Afrobeats, my body starts moving in ways that I know it must have at some point in my lineage or is somewhere in there. But it's these movements, these very sacral opening, these pelvic opening movements. And then I start watching like African dancing, like, oh yeah, this is some part, is recognizing this. We all came, like humanity came from Africa, right? So some part of me is recognizing this music and knows how to move to it. But there's opening my pelvis. Like, for one, our sacral center is where our creativity comes from, right? But like opening that sacral center, it just releases something. It just in my intuition and my energy, and it really, really, really brings me back into my body. There are other ways. Somatic work, if you don't know what it is, look it up. I also feel like this is attributed to my weight loss, is instead of working out, I do these very slow, easeful movements that release cortisol from the body, release trauma from the body. I know that's a big part, too, of this transition for me, is doing trauma work and really getting to my core wounds and feeling those wounds, allowing them to be felt. I feel like all of this has worked in tandem to really, it's bringing me into my highest version of self, and I freaking love it. I'm going to need this body working well because I got stuff to do, y'all. So, somatic work, yes, 100% do it. Being in nature. I won't stop saying it. In fact, that just inspired me. I think I'm going to do a whole episode on it. Have I already done an episode on it? I don't know. If I haven't, I am. If I have, I'm going to do it again. Being in nature, y'all, it is also an embodiment of source energy. This earth, this planet, and every little aspect of it. It's all an embodiment of source energy. So being connected with that, realizing that we're not here alone, or that we don't own this place, that we're not in dominion over it in the way that we're meant to just like take it as our own. We're meant to work together as a community. And by connecting with nature, by speaking to nature, I promise you, if you listen, it will speak back. By speaking to nature, by putting my feet on the ground and connecting with earth energy. Gosh, if I'm tired or if I have a headache or if I just feel ick, that's my answer. I take off my shoes and I go put my feet in the dirt, put my feet on the ground and let that energy come up through my body. That is a great way to get embodied, to swim, to be in the water. Gosh, feeling the water on your skin will bring you in your body in a second, especially if it's cold water. And one thing I didn't realize until I moved here, which is kind of ironic. If you got mountains, you got waterfalls. There's mountains anywhere in your state or anywhere near you, there's some waterfalls. So I had only known. I grew up just like minutes from multiple waterfalls. I had no idea. I would have been there every time I turned around. Go get in some of that ice cold waterfall water. It will bring you back into your body like that. Or ice baths. Everybody's doing that now, right? I don't know if we're going to talk about that with embodiment, because I feel like I leave my body when I go in an ice bath. Oh, until I get out of it, and then I feel like $1,000,000. But okay, the moon cycles. I'm going to speak from being a woman, but men, this works for you too. You also have a moon cycle. We just are more aware of ours because we bleed. But men, you also have a moon cycle. So someone told me this, and I tried it, and it works. Gosh, many, many years ago. And she said, if you start talking to the moon, your cycle will sync up with it. I'm like, cool. So I did. I started talking to the moon, and my cycles, like within 1 or 2 cycles, I was on a full moon cycle, which means I start my menstruation the day of the full moon, or in that like couple of days around the full moon. Now, at the time, that was a lot for me. I wasn't embodied at all, and it made me crazy. So it was a little too much. So I got myself off the moon cycle for many, many years, but recently felt called to get back on it. And I've gotten myself back on the moon cycle, and it's incredibly powerful. It increases the intuition to work in this cycle with the moon. But even, like I said, if you're not bleeding, you can still do this. Just start talking to the moon and it will naturally happen. I know that sounds nuts, but y'all, nature, it's not just like hanging out doing nothing. It's alive. It is aware of us. Someone posted a meme recently and it was like, I actually made it into a reel and reposted it because I loved it so much. But it was, did you ever wonder if the trees and flowers like to look at us too? And they do. I know this is going to sound nuts, but I don't care. I have this big fern. It's a huge fern. I'm talking about like the stems, the leaves of these ferns are like 5 feet. Like they're huge. And this fern loves to aggravate me when I'm working in my yard. And I will intentionally, or if I'm around my water heater, it's in my laundry area, there's a certain area that I'm in that I'll intentionally stay away from the fern because it'll scare me. I always think there's a centipede on me. And I think it gets a kick out of it or something, because no matter how far I stay away from this fern, it will find a way to touch me. It will touch me in the back of my neck. It's always somewhere unexpected, and it always makes me jump. And I swear this fern is just like laughing inside. But I don't know if you've tried this, but you can literally go outside, go sit by a tree, give yourself a couple of inches, not something where it's going to happen, something that you can't doubt, but also where it's possible. Don't go 2 feet away. Give yourself a couple of inches from like a limb, and be like, if you're aware of me, touch me, and just hold yourself still. I have never had this not work. It will move. The wind will blow. Something will happen. It just kind of inches its way over, and it will touch you. I promise. Do it. Try it if you don't believe me. But cycling up with the moon cycles has been really great as an embodiment practice for me, because I also schedule myself around the moon cycles. If this sounds like a lot, I actually created this back to nature planner and journal where every week of the moon cycle is labeled, like, so when you're making your schedule, you can schedule with the moon cycles, because like the first week of our moon cycle is more for collecting on the things from our last cycle, starting new projects, all that, like really new freshness, right? The second week of our moon cycle is about investing in those projects, further deepening those projects. It's more of that movement, right? When you're doing the really energetic, active stuff. The third week gets more reflective. It's a reflective cycle when we're reflecting on our month and what we're going to do next. And then we go into our rest and planning cycle. So each week of the moon cycle has a different purpose. So by cycling ourselves with the moon, it brings us back into it. Embodiment in such a huge way that will make a very positive impact on your life. I promise. Once I realized that I was not bipolar, that I just am really, really happy those first 2 weeks of the month and then kind of go into a resting state the other 2 weeks, I realized that I know when my moods are going to happen. I don't feel like I'm on mood swings because I exactly know how I'm going to feel, because it's based on the moon cycle. I'm not crazy. I'm not moody. I'm on the moon cycle. We all are. And when we don't realize it, the cycle that we're on, it can just feel like it's hitting us out of left field. Now I know these things. I can plan my life around it. And I don't plan a lot of social stuff when I'm going to be in a resting and reflective time. I don't plan resting and reflective stuff when I'm going to want to be active and getting stuff done. I want to take advantage of that time to get stuff done. And that way, when my resting time comes, I don't feel bad. I can just rest and enjoy it and appreciate it. The art of doing nothing. So another one is, so that's about working with your body instead of trying to control it. Another one is self-touch, massage. If you give yourself a hug, if you're watching the video, you can see I'm doing it right now. If you give yourself a hug, it actually has the same effect as if someone else gives you a hug. You can like put your hands on your face. It's a great way to comfort yourself. I was using a lot of these tools during the pandemic, that first couple of months when I didn't see or touch another human. My dog at the time was just like, enough, lady, you've touched me enough. Like, leave me alone. So the self-touch is very therapeutic, but also like massage. Maybe I should do a YouTube video on that. I think I'm going to do a YouTube video on that. Keep an eye out on self-massage. I learned that when I was in massage school, and I actually still have all of the stuff, but I do it myself on how you can give yourself a massage. And there are longer ways to do it, but basically I have this oil, like castor oil mixture I use when I get out of the shower, and I massage it into my legs and my arms, and I like really feel the muscles and massage it. That will bring us back into our bodies, just touching. But I'm going to do that. Keep an eye out. I'm going to make a YouTube video on self-massage so that we all have that. Listening to your body and acting accordingly. If you're hungry, eat. If you're tired, rest. If you're energetic, go use that energy. Listen to our body. If something in our body's like, that's a no. That's a hard pass, y'all. Listen to it. I went on a date, about a year ago, and I knew within seconds, I don't know how many seconds, but it was within seconds that wasn't a match for me. And practically everything would say that he was a good match. Like there are all these things lining up that would make that person a good match. But I knew immediately, I was like, in my body was like, nope. But I was like, okay, I'm here. We both come this way. I'm just going to humor it. And it was a waste of an hour of my day. So it wasn't a waste because it told me that the answers are already there. So, I listen to that now. And the more we listen to it, the louder it'll get, the easier it is to listen to. Plus, you kind of build faith in it. The more you listen to it, the more you see how it works. And then you're going to keep doing it because it works. And, prioritizing rest. We're not machines. We're not born to produce. We're born to create. And there is a big difference. So, allowing ourselves, prioritizing rest, prioritizing play, joyfulness, play. Like, remember being a kid. I've got the 90 days of play going on. It's free. You don't even have to give me your email address. Go find it. It's liveallow.com. Up at the top, you can click on 90 days of play and all the stuff is there. Getting in your body, playing, finding joy. Like, these are ways to get embodied. Doing nothing, staring into space, like literally doing nothing. Yesterday, I gave myself the whole day to do nothing because I was trying to work the night before and the inspiration wasn't coming. I was feeling like, I know I have all these things I'd like to do. I'm just not feeling it. So I just stepped back and was like, okay, we're just going to take a break. And I didn't do anything else mentally the rest of that night. And yesterday, I just insisted that I not do anything productive. I did go get groceries because I need to eat, but I really just gave myself time to not think. I didn't listen to any podcasts. I didn't even listen to music in my car. I just gave my brain a break, gave myself a break to do nothing, right? Not allowing ourselves to be machines. We are not machines. And not trying to restrict our bodies into submission, right? To try to fast ourselves into submission or cleanse ourselves into submission or work ourselves out into submission. Just let our body be our wild bodies, right? And the cool thing about that is when you do, the health and all of that other stuff comes naturally. You don't have to try, it just comes. The more embodied I get, the more I just naturally do my oil pulling in the morning without even thinking about it. The more embodied I become, the more of a skincare routine I get. The more embodied I become, the more I move, the more I take care of myself, the more aware I am of what I'm eating. I'm not trying to do any of those things. I'm being embodied, and that is the byproduct of it. So, I think about this with your body is like, we have this saying in the South that you catch more flies with honey. And it's like, how does it feel for you when somebody insists that you do or be something that you are not, or that you cannot? That's how our body feels. Right? We're trying to you catch more flies with honey than you do vinegar. You pour vinegar on the body and you make it do all these things, try to force it, and you're going to get resistance. But when you give it honey and you be sweet to it, then it's going to naturally want to show up for you, right? It all works together. We don't have to try anything in life. The more we be, the more authentic we become, the more all of the things that we want to be, do, and have become a byproduct of that. Kindness, softness, space, listening, moving, trusting, thanking your body, loving your body, being grateful to your body for getting you this far, for getting you from point A to point B, from letting you know when it's hot and that you need to cool off or you would die, from letting you know when you're too cold and you need to get warm or you would die. Thanking our body, being grateful to our body for what it's giving us. I've spent much of my life trying to control every part of myself to be what the world around me was telling me I was supposed to be. But the more embodied I become, the more authentic I become, the more that I just love the way that I am. The way that I was born, the way that I am right now, flaws and all. The more beautiful my life becomes, the more fulfilling my life becomes, the more satisfying my life becomes, the more peaceful my life becomes. So it's about this harmony, this holistic approach of harmonizing the body, the mind, and the spirit, having the embodiment, having the mindfulness, allowing our souls to lead. That's all together. I'm doing these as three separate things: embodiment, mindfulness, and being soul-led, but they're all working together. One cannot exist without the other. So, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. I hope that this has come across in a way that makes sense, that's understandable. I really appreciate you being here, showing up with me week after week. If you are wanting to be, I don't want to forget, one of the main things that has really helped me is breath work. Doing breath work has brought me into my body in ways that just really allows me to feel the feelings that have been stored in my body for years and years that weren't able to be felt. Because when we don't feel our feelings, they don't go anywhere. They just hide in our body, in our cells. And in breath work, those parts come out and I get to feel them and see them and love them. And that has been a huge part of my embodiment practice. So I am offering breathwork sessions. Now I am a trained breathwork facilitator. You can work with me in person. There's a whole protocol that I have for working in person, but we can also do it online. It is just as powerful, just as effective. So if you're interested in doing some breath work and working through that, you can get in touch with me online, Live Allow, ALAU. It's the alchemy of authenticity. liveallow.com. You can contact me there. You can contact me on Instagram at authenticallymelly. You can contact me through YouTube. There's so many ways to get in touch with me, but if you would like to do some embodiment work and do some breath work together, I'm here for you. Let me know. If you would like to work together in other ways, untangle some of the ways that you feel stuck in your business, in your life, in any areas of your life. If you're wanting some companionship on this journey back to yourself, I am here for you. I am offering one-on-one work together and leading you back to yourself so that your soul can lead your life. If you're interested in working with me in that capacity, just reach out. I'm here. If you want to support the show, it's in the outro, but just in case you skip it, get on there. Leave me a 5-star review, friends. I know you're loving the show because you keep coming back and watching it. So please leave me a review so that other people can love it too. Also, be sure to subscribe or follow so that you don't miss an episode. That helps you and it helps me. So let's do it. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. As always, I love you and stay authentic. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed this episode, the best way to show your support is to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, share your thoughts by leaving a 5-star review. It really helps more people to find this space. Want to go deeper? Head over to my website at leavingthechurchtofindgod.com. There, you can make a donation and make sure that we continue to have these conversations. No matter where you are on your spiritual journey, if you or someone you know would like to join the podcast and tell your story, please reach out to me on Instagram at authenticallymelly. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep finding your own unique connection to something greater. Until next time, stay authentic, stay open, and aloha.